Hello Gaudi class and welcome to this lesson. Now it's labelled history, but actually it's kind of science because we're looking at space, we're looking at what a nebula is. And nebulas are things that exist now, although they were actually formed millions of years ago. So I guess that's the part of history. We were looking at Caroline Herschel yesterday and about how she discovered all these nebulae. One nebula, lots of nebulae. So we're going to have a look at what a nebula is. Now, this lesson I'm not going to test you on any of this information. It's just a nice to know lesson. The activity we're doing at the end has nothing to do with the information I'm giving you. The activity at the end has got to be my favourite ever activity that we do. So what is a nebula? So nebulae are clouds of gas and dust in space, just huge, enormous clouds. Some are created when a dying star explodes. We're going to talk about how that happens. And others help to form new stars and objects in space, planetary objects, moons, and cloud dust around planets. Several thousand stars can be produced from one nebula. All stars are created in nebulae. When nebulae get very dense with gas and dust, they collapse under their own force and create stars. So when they get really, really, really full and they can't hold anymore, it's like having a packet of crisps. I'm sure you've all done this. You get a packet of crisps and you squeeze it and the top pops. It's a bit like that. And if you haven't, mums knows, I'm really sorry. So that's what happens. They squash together and they can't get any closer and they kind of explode and they create stars. So a star's life cycle depends on its size. The bigger a star is, the shorter its lifespan. So massive stars, huge stars, shine brightly and quickly and last a few 100,000 years. So that's not a short lifespan. It's still a few 100,000 years. But smaller stars can live for millions of years. They cool and expand. So they get colder and they get bigger and become red supergiants. And then they explode into what's known as a supernova. And then these explosions can also create neutron stars and black holes. So average stars, smaller stars, use much less energy to shine and last for several billion years. Amazing. They cool slowly to become red giants and then white dwarfs. Our sun is a small star. So if you think about how big our sun is, it's a small star. There are much bigger stars and even more massive stars than our sun. And our sun is a star. It's actually the closest star to our planet. So that just shows you what I've just been saying. So you start with a star nebula, and then when it explodes, you get an average star, which becomes a red giant, then a planetary nebula, then a white dwarf, or you get a massive star that becomes a red supergiant, then a supernova, and then a black hole or a neutron star. Your turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a different screen and I'm going to take you on to the internet. Now, the link is in the description for this lesson. You can access this on any device. So you can access this on a smartphone, you can access it on a laptop, iPad, desk computer, anything that gives you access to the internet, you can do this. And I've been playing with this on my phone, so I know it does work. So hopefully you can see my internet screen. Now, I discovered the other day, anytime I record on Zoom, I come up in the top right-hand corner as I'm looking at it. And I know on some of my videos, I've said, I'm just going to move my head out of the way, or I'm just going to go to the other corner. And Mr. Watkins informed me this morning that it doesn't matter where I move my picture to. When you watch it, it's always going to come up on the top right corner. So you probably have looked at me and gone, Mrs. Gabella, what are you talking about? You haven't moved yourself. But you see, I think I'm moving, even if I don't. At the top of your screen, you've got some options: clear, share, download, tweak, whatever. You need to go to tweak and you need to check the preset And currently it's on default, and you want it on intense or you want it on worms. I'm going to show it to you on intense, and then I'm going to show it to you on worms. So start with intense, and then pick a color. So I'm going to start with yellow. And all you need to do is move your finger or your mouse, depending on what a gadget you're doing this on, and just move it around. Okay, and you'll see what happens. The longer you leave your finger in one place or your mouse in one place, the deeper it goes. So there's my yellow. I might change and do some purple now. So leave it there for a bit, leave it there for a bit, leave it there for a bit. You can see, let's do some white. Now, I had to record my maths video first today because I knew that once I started doing this, I wasn't going to stop. And that's the problem. I love this. I remember doing this last year. I'm coming home and showing my family and all of us sitting there playing with this for hours. It's great fun. When you have finished, then what you want to do is you want to download it, and you've got your options again, download it. And what it'll do is it'll just give you a file that you can then open and save. So you can, and then you can clear it and you can do another one. So I'm going to clear it. I'm going to show you what happens if you change your preset to worms. You have a look at the, and I'll go to white, have a look at what happens out the side. So can you see you've got, it looks a bit like ice forming. You've got all these little worms that come out. So again, it works the same way. The longer you hold something in one place, the more intense it goes, but it's got all these worms. Amazingly gorgeous. And again, you can change the presets while you're doing it. So I could now go into intense and I could do some intense ones with my worms. And again, when you've finished, just save it and you can upload them to Tapestry for me to have a look at. And the amazing thing about this is you don't have to be artistic. It just looks beautiful. So have fun. Let everybody in your house have a go at making these as well. And I look forward to seeing all of your nebulae on Tapestry.